Respect, just a respect for time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's formally start the February 10th Oceano Advisory Council meeting. Done. First thing on our agenda is the roll call, so I will do the roll call, starting with Aline Villa, Chair. Here, present, Councilmember Casanova,
Here.
Councilmember Verney,
Here.
Councilmember Dury,
Here.
and I'm pretty sure, I know Karen's gonna join us soon, so. We'll do the flag salute next. Would anybody like to lead the flag salute?
No.
I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And happiness for all.
Next on our agenda, we have public comment for items not on the agenda. So I only see 4 participants. I don't think there's any public comment unless one of us. Oh,
Jeff Edwards.
Councilman, go ahead.
Probably does.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, hey, it's tax season and 5:30 is not gonna fly for me for meetings. I thought our meetings were at 6:30, quite honestly. So this is really catching me unawares, but I'm prepared. Obviously, because I have to do a presentation, but just so you guys know, I can't do 5:30, especially during tax season. I'm doing everything I can to avoid San Luis traffic to get home. So I don't even leave the office until 6, and we could be right in the middle of stuff and I couldn't participate if that's the case. So just a heads up.
We have Julie has joined the meeting.
Okay.
We're in public comment, Julie, if you have anything.
For items not on the agenda.
Julie has her hand up. Alina, we can't hear you.
You have a speaker,
Yes.
Julie.
Yes. Go ahead, Julie. With the person with the name Julie.
That's me.
Have-
I didn't
Yeah,
know I
public
could
comment?
unmute myself.
Yeah, we're nice like that.
Lots of meetings I have to wait for someone to unmute me. Hey, I don't know if you guys know that the County Board of Supervisors has an agenda item on Tuesday, and it's VACO's request for funding, and it's probably a slam dunk. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware. I don't know if you saw that a couple weeks ago, the board had an item that they chose not to proceed with about sort of standardizing the different advisory councils. And I have lots of experience in lots of communities, and I've never seen a community have 2 advisory councils. But one thing that I thought about in the funding, and I wrote this to the board, and I think it still stands, is the funding of the different councils. You all have the same needs, whether it's Zoom meetings or a meeting place or a post office box or a website, and maybe a Dropbox, those things that you need to be efficient and transparent. It just seems like this Board of Supervisors should just have a flat fee, flat number that they fund all of you equally every year. It just seems like something that they could do. And the criticism that I heard about your request for funding last year was that you were outside your scope and you were asking for things that nobody else had asked for, obviously, in the past, doing the survey or whatever. And so I thought if you narrowed your scope and made that point that everybody needs these same services for their advisory councils, I'd encourage you to try again, maybe with the next supervisor, because it doesn't look like you're going to have the same supervisor going forward. But just those were just some random thoughts. And since I popped in on public comment, I thought I'd share those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So you got in, Karen?
Oh, yeah, I am so sorry. Just
Oh, no problem. No issue.
been sitting right here with an agenda. Just the time on it. Pretty stupid.
Okay. All right. Well, you're here. We knew you were going to show up, and it took me a bit to even send it to you. I don't even know if you got it before.
I found it.
Oh, okay. All right. So we just got done with public comment for items not on the agenda. And next on our agenda, we have presentations. So I know that April has a presentation for us.
That's item 4, and I'm listed on item 6.
There. Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's get minutes out of the way.
Okay. Let's do, hopefully you all received the minutes and you were able to review them, and then that you are, and think that they're fine. So if not, you could review them, and I'll have someone motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second,
I second.
4th and 5th.
We don't need a
That
vote.
was a tie. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passed. Okay, next on our agenda, we have new business items, and under that, we have converting to a 501c3. I know several of you sent questions.
Yes. Do you like me to start now?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
So I just emailed you all the 2 pieces of paper that I'm going to be talking from, so that you can have them in front of you if you'd like to, but I'm basically just touching base over them, and they are in response to your questions. So the first question that I got was from Karen, which was a very valid question, and it had to do with the restrictions on a 501c3 designated group when it comes to political issues, items, etc. So this is directly from the IRS website itself, and it states that any organization designated a 501c3, which is what we're looking for, are absolutely, these are their words, absolutely prohibited from directly or indirectly participating in or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for elective public office. Contributions to political campaign funds or private statements of position, verbal or written, made on behalf of the organization in favor of or in opposition to any candidate for a public office clearly violates the prohibition. Violating this could cause you to be in bad standing and have revocation. It does say that certain activities may not be prohibited depending on the facts and circumstances. For example, certain voter education activities, such as presenting a public forum, like a candidate forum, like the League of Women Voters does, or Latino Outreach Council has done in the past, etc. We are allowed to do that because we're not endorsing any one candidate. We are creating a platform for them all to speak equally. And it's not against any one issue or item. So there is that. And then activities intended to encourage public to participate in the electoral process, such as voter registration and get out the vote drives, those are also allowed. They are not prohibited if it's conducted in a nonpartisan manner. So we cannot tie ourselves to a political candidate. It really doesn't speak much to a political issue. But it's really up to interpretation. You know, do we consider a marine sanctuary a political issue? I don't. It's not a candidate. It's an issue in our community, but it's not necessarily a political issue. Some people may politicize things like the dunes, et cetera, but that doesn't make it in the IRS's eyes a political issue. So that's really our only limitation, is we couldn't endorse any particular supervisor or any particular OCSD person running, anything like that. And we can't not only endorse anyone, we couldn't be in opposition of anyone officially. So does that answer your question, Karen?
Yeah, yeah. And I think the narrowing would be, if you're going to vote for something, you need to watch out. But if it's something that the Marine Sanctuary has no vote.
Right.
I mean,
It's
the community's
support.
not voting on it. So that's,
And
yeah,
it's not political. It's not a political issue.
because there's no yes and no to the public.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank
No,
you.
absolutely. And I kind of had a feeling you probably knew the answer, but it's great to just put this out in the public for sure that the public can understand as well
Yeah.
that, well, we talk about this. I think that's great.
I thought I knew.
And then Aline, well, I'll get to Aline's last because it's kind of a two-part thing. Charles, you asked what would be the benefit of having a 501c3, that you felt that it seemed to be more of a, you know, a paper, you know, raining down paper upon us and, you know, having to jump through hoops and do all these things. And if I'm wrong in what you said, then please, you know, clear me up. But so one of the sheets that I emailed you, it says, what are the benefits of being a 501c3? And I'll tell you right off the top, one of the great benefits is obviously it's a tax deductible donation for a business, for a person. They can legitimately write it off on their tax return. So like Charles, when you gave money to, well, I don't know who gave money, but whoever gave money for, like, let's say the bumper stickers, that could be a tax deductible contribution because we received something if we had been a 501c3 at the time. We don't need to be a 501c3 to necessarily get, like, let's say GoFundMe money or any of that crowdsourcing money. But one of the detriments to not being a 501c3, and this kind of ties in with Aline's question, is if our only source of funding was to be the county, we could easily explain to the IRS that that is our only source of funding and it's not taxable income. We get it. We're derived from it. We're created, an advisory council was created for that very purpose. Unfortunately, the county is not following their own resolution and they're not funding us. So we can't make that argument anymore that we're really just an umbrella or underneath the umbrella of the county. We are literally going out and soliciting income. And that then runs the risk of being taxable income. And if we're not reporting that when we're not a 501c3, that's a risk for us. That's a risk for any advisory council that is taking money that's not directly from the county as per their own bylaws, like VACO. If they're taking money or even in-kind donations, let's say there's, I don't know, a marketing company or an advertising company that's just giving them signs, that's literally taxable income for them through trade or in-kind donations that they're not reporting and we're not reporting ours. So that's a benefit of being a 501c3, is then it becomes non-taxable income. So I hope, Charles, that helps make a decision. As I said, we're limited in any political activity. So that's a benefit that we could never be, or we would be held accountable if we were ever partisan in any way when it comes to the elected officials or anything like that. We're very hands-off. If we were to be a 501c3, any 501c3, and then disband, we are required by the IRS to turn in any assets, whether they be tangible assets or financial assets. you are obligated to give them to a fellow 501c3. I can't get them, Aline can't get them, we can't give them to anybody. They would go to, you know, OBCA or the Train Depot or some other 501c3. So that also restricts us, which I think is beneficial. My biggest concern really is this taking in money, not being a 501c3, that puts us at risk of having taxable income that we're not reporting. One of the other great benefits of being a 501c3, and I think, Charles, you would really appreciate this, is that we are then eligible to go after grants and other sources of funding that when we're not a 501c3, we're not eligible for, or it would be impossible, very hard to get when we're competing against actual other 501c3s. So that designation makes it opens many doors for us, for anyone or any entity that goes after that. So those are the reasons that I say that their benefit, and again, this is right off the IRS website and some other sources. The public legitimacy of being a 501c3 instead of just a fly by the seat of your pants, hey, we're taking money in, they don't really know who we are. We would be registered with the Department of Justice, we would be registered with the state of California. We would have these responsibilities to file very simple forms on an annual basis that would cost us no extra to file these forms, and we would have no tax due to be in compliance, to be a 501c3. And we also, yay, we get discounts on US postal expenses. So if we wanted to do bulk mailings, we would get a discount on that. So hopefully that answers the majority of your questions, Charles, and I'm happy to take any more if you have them.
Excuse me.
I was, can I just see if with Charles, if I answered Charles's first, because this was pertaining to his question originally.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it, April. And I agree with you that those could all be advantages of being a 501c3. My felt sense is that at this point, I think that in the information you sent us, there's a group called I don't know, an interest organization or something, that as long as they aren't dealing with more than, what is it, $5,000 a year, they don't need.
That's something actually Lucia said. I didn't say that. The one that I know of is a $50,000 ceiling.
A non-incorporated organization.
Yeah, non-incorporated organization. And we don't have to jump through any hoops. We don't have to worry about the Brown Act. We don't have to worry about taking positions on things. And I just don't see any reason to go through all of the work and have all of the bureaucratic expectations and requirements to be a 501c3. I mean, we barely have bandwidth to, have a meeting, a couple of times a month and get some stuff accomplished. I really don't see us starting to write grants. Now, I mean, maybe down the line, that would be good. All it takes is, I think, 3 supervisors to say, get rid of Oceano Advisory Council. And you can see there's right now a political campaign on YouTube saying to do exactly that. Oceano Advisory Council, dysfunctional and, whatever, and we need to be gotten rid of. So.
Well, that would happen whether we're a 501c3 or not, for one. For two, we've been hearing this for well over a year now. So we knew VACA was coming into play before the county admitted it. We knew that Lynn Compton was looking to drop District 4 before she admitted it. So we're well aware of these things that are talked about and bandied about in the community. Whether we're a 501c3 or not, will not stop those things or expedite those things.
Well, I I didn't say that it necessarily would. I just said that we can continue to do our work without having to go through the issues associated with a 501c and the accountability that's associated with it.
Then we are taking in taxable income when we get money donated to us.
No, I don't believe we are taking in taxable income. We're just taking in income to support our mission. And I thought that was the point of a non-incorporated, association.
Right.
That-
You would still need to get the IRS designation to be a 501c3. You just wouldn't be incorporated. That's a second level of a tax entity.
Mhm.
Like I'm self-employed, so my information goes on my personal tax return. If I was incorporated, I would have a whole other tax return that I would need to create. This is almost the exact same thing, except in a 501c3 level, where you can be an association, an unincorporated association, but you would still need to request from the IRS to designate you a 501c3 so that it's not taxable income. You just would not also incorporate, which then brings you to the $50,000 threshold, where you don't have to file a tax return every year, but you would still go through the process to incorporate. So they're truly two different issues, or two different tax entities. And I do understand what you're saying, is I do this, for a living. Lucia, what she's explaining is that it's everything except not incorporating through the federal, through the state, and becoming its own tax entity with its own filing requirements. That's the only difference.
Hey, Councilmember Casanova, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, excuse me. Thank you very much, April, for the great information. I didn't get the last benefit that you were telling us in the presentation, the one that had to do with discounts. Can you please repeat that? The only word I caught was discounts.
Postage.
Oh, postage.
You get bulk rate postage as a 501c3, whether it's the incorporated or the unincorporated, you would still get that. It's the IRS's designation to be a 501c3 is the biggest picture, the most important part.
Thank you. As I explained in my email, I understand perfectly what the benefits are. And they're good, because I know a couple of people, my neighbor, he was going to donate $250, but when I told him that we are not, we don't all have a number. They need a number. When I file my taxes and I donated to my Buddhist association, they ask me, what's the federal ID tax number? That's different from any other number. And I put it in there. Now, like the OBCA has it, because okay, now the OBCA chose to be a nonprofit, but not to deal with that by itself. It was too much for us. So we asked another big organization, ecologists, and they are our umbrella. So they will do our filing. They dealt with all the bureaucracy. So we do. The OBCA has a nonprofit status without having to deal with all of that. So that's also an option that we have. And I think that's also the option that the Oceano Development Council took. There are lots of small, very small organizations that choose that option. Okay. Okay. Just a minute, April. Then I wanted to say that, yes, here I'm reading from, this is the IRS, unincorporated associations, that's us. We are an unincorporated association that is working for educational and charity. We have a gross revenues less than 5,000. That's us right now. And let's keep it under 5,000. We do not need to file Form 1023. Then it says, however, yeah, we can get donations easier if we have a number, because people will donate to us. So that's another option. Stay as we are and stay as we are. That's all. That's all. I'm done for now. Thank you.
Okay, to respond to that, there's two things. First, let me say that without a 501c3 designation from the Internal Revenue Service, we are never allowed to say that money donated to us is tax deductible.
Right.
To get that designation is free. You don't have to incorporate, you don't have to anything. You just request the IRS, you submit what you plan on being, and the IRS will say or not say you're allowed to be a 501c3. That's the first step. And no money, just to ask. And that's where you would fall, let me finish, Lucia, where you would fall under the $5,000 umbrella, where you don't really have to do anything else. You just get the letter that states this organization is a 501c3. There's $0 to file to get a federal tax ID number. I have a federal tax ID number and I'm not incorporated. The IRS will give an entity a federal tax ID number. That's not a problem. So that's that. The second part was you spoke about the ecological umbrella that you're under through the OBCA. And I'd like to address that. For those that aren't aware, that is an option. The one downfall to it that I'd like to express is that, let's say the OAC disbanded in 3 years and we had $1,000 sitting in the bank account. If we want to give that money away to whatever, none of us can be associated with anything we're giving that money away to, okay? So if I wanted to give them, if we wanted to give the money, like let's say Lucia's gone and we wanted to give the money to the OBCA. Well, it's actually through the ecological group. So anything that if any one of us are tied to any agency that the ecological group is tied to, then that makes it unavailable for us to give it away to them. That's a downfall to it. So I just want you guys to understand that that umbrella is really benefiting the ecological group. It doesn't benefit the OBCA in the big picture. I'm sure that you guys like not having to file anything or follow up on anything. I understand that, but in the end, it doesn't. There's no benefit to it in a bigger picture, but there is a detriment to it, because if we were to disband, we were to try to give our money away, any other entity under the umbrella of this ecological 501c3 is also now something that we would be tied to and couldn't give it away to if we were part of them. So I just want that to be understood on the ecological side. And then I do still have to finish Aline's question. If no one else has any, then I'm going to answer Aline's about what the county's position is on advisory councils. Charles, did you have something else you wanted to chime in? Karen?
I just had one quick question.
Sure.
Would being a 501(c)(3) help in this situation if the county decided to dump this organization? Would it give the organization more of a chance to stand up on its own 2 feet?
It would definitely help it. It wouldn't hurt it at all.
Yeah.
So the OAC, so that actually ties very well into the answer to Aline's question about the county's position of advisory councils. So I'd like to point out that on January 25th, where's my note here? Sorry. On January 25th, the Board of Supervisors met. Sorry, there it is. And I spoke to that meeting, and Aline also spoke to that meeting. So I would have assumed you had heard what Supervisor Compton said, Aline, but I will restate it. So public comment started for this advisory. They were looking to put it on the agenda because they want to prioritize dealing with advisory councils and making them more uniform, etc. We all are aware of that. So Aline spoke, I spoke, many people spoke, and then it went back to the supervisors to discuss. This whole thing started at 3:05. If you want to go back and listen to the meeting on January 25th, it started at 3:05, this particular topic. I spoke at 3:22, and Aline spoke at 3:26 into the 3 hours, 26 minutes into the meeting. And then Supervisor Compton started speaking around 3 hours and 32 minutes into it. And Her words were, county council has told them that the advisory councils, all of them, not a one of them, is under the wing of the county. They have absolutely no jurisdiction over us. We are completely independent from the county. We have no role within the county structure whatsoever, which is why they don't enforce their own resolution, because they don't want to be our parents. They don't want to be any advisory council's parents. So at this point, we don't really have rules. We choose to abide by rules because we're rule abiding people, and I appreciate that about our council. But the reality is, county council in this meeting listened to Supervisor Compton say that the county has no jurisdiction whatsoever over advisory councils, period, end of sentence. And they did not correct her. They did not modify that statement. They did not interject in any way. And she has said this more than once on the record during council meeting or county meetings. And she's also said it to me in my meeting to her on its own. So I don't know how much more evidence that you guys need or want or feel you're required from the county to understand that we have nothing to do with the county. We are not obligated to follow a Brown Act, although I wish we would, and many people do. We're not obligated to give any public records. We're not obligated to even account for our own money. We are not obligated in any way whatsoever to the county. And that's county council themselves has approved that statement, that belief. So I hope that answers your question, Aline. You're muted, Aline.
Go ahead, Lucia.
Well, okay. You know, it doesn't concern me. If we choose the option of ecologistics, I'm sure that there are millions of organizations to which we could donate our little money if we disband. I mean, there are millions, and I'm sure we could find one with which none of us, including ecologistics, is associated. I understand the argument well. But the thing that I don't understand, April, and because it seems to conflict with what I know, is that you say that we do not need to incorporate in order to apply for nonprofit status. Well, I disagree with that. Unless things have changed, when I did it for Safe Beach Now, that was the law. We had to incorporate it to do the nonprofit. And I'm looking for here right now where exactly that is stated. That's my understanding, that we needed to incorporate in order to receive that letter. And that's another thing I don't understand, April, about the ID tax number. In order for people to have their donations tax deductible, we need to have a number that is on that letter. The IRS sends us a letter that says that we are a legitimate nonprofit, which is different from just having an ID number.
I think you're misunderstanding my words.
Okay, please explain.
When any entity applies to the Internal Revenue Service requesting to be designated a 501c3, which is a charitable designation, the IRS issues a letter stating you have been approved to be considered a charitable
Yeah,
That's the letter.
That's the letter.
To get a federal tax ID number, which is what you're talking about, anybody can get it. You can contact the IRS online right now and get one within 30 seconds.
I agree with
So
you.
let me finish. So you don't have to be incorporated in order to get the number or to become a 501c3. If you have money coming in over $5,000, you definitely need to be incorporated. And if you look at the very first sheet that I sent that's attached to the agenda, the 1 to 3rd sentence or third, I don't know what you would call it, a paragraph, says, what is an unincorporated association? And when you click on that, that's where you learn that you don't have to be incorporated. Incorporation just means that you're making a corporation that has its own other legal parameters. And we can become a 501c3 without doing that part. I don't know how else to explain it to you or show you. This is literally what I do for a living. I ran a farmer's market as an unassociated 501c3. I did not need to file a tax return. I didn't make any money. I got a tax ID number. We're all good to go. The OAC could do the exact same thing. And if we ever got over $5,000, then we could look into incorporating totally. But we don't need to do any of those things. All we have to do is request from the IRS for them to look at our request and for them to decide we are a 501c3 or not. That's literally it.
And so now it's, okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And so when I applied for Savage now, it was expensive. We did the long form, but I understand now from your presentation that there is an online easy form, and that's free.
To incorporate is not free. The
No,
form
to do the nonprofit, the 501.
You're mixing apples and oranges. We're back to that again. So it would be easier if we can get back to that. Let's see if Aline or maybe even Julie has other questions that I can answer. So that, I mean, my whole goal in this was to not make this a 50-minute presentation. I provided all the information. It's right there on the IRS website and everywhere else. And I can get back to you. But Aline, did you have any follow-up from me answering your question?
I mean, I understand, but what, you know, I was at that meeting and I heard exactly what you heard, what Compton said, and the fact that the attorney there didn't say anything was disappointing to me, because she is the expert and I wanted her to either say, yes, Supervisor Compton is correct, or she's not. So to me, if we are gonna go ahead, I would like something in writing from the council saying, we're fine with you becoming whatever we decide, 501c3 unincorporated. Now, I don't think, it sounds like there's confusion and people are thinking about it. So you're present, you know, for you, April, it's like straightforward because you are an expert and you actually do this for a living. For us, we're like getting confused because the IRS has changed its rules in the past, and you know, maybe that's what Lucia's talking about. She's getting confused because maybe back then when she started it, her stuff, it wasn't the same way. I'm not sure exactly how much it would cost for us on a yearly basis to be an unincorporated 501c3 and all the requirements, and who's going to do that once you're not part of the council.
So to go back to the first page that I ever submitted to you all for this presentation, at the very bottom, I put, we're just discussing this. We don't have to make any decisions. This is purely discussion at this point to gather information and mull this over and knock it around. We can add, you know, write a letter to county council with, I don't know what they call it, but, you know, like a statement of what they want. That could be one of the things that we do. I can come back with definitive information to show how there's no cost to just become an unincorporated association. But right now, I'm just giving information for you all to absorb, to think about, to mull over. No decisions need to be made right this moment. That was why all this was already prepared for everybody to just kind of look at it, absorb it, answer some quick questions, see if you had any other questions for me, and then we can address this in a future agenda. But that's a very valid point. If you want something from county council, we should write and ask them for it, for a determination letter, I think is what I would call it. And
I'm
then,
just gonna say
ahead.
one thing. I think it's very interesting. I heard that Board of Supervisors thing too. I mean, I watched it. It's interesting because I've been on advisory committees for a long time. And in the past, they have a handbook, they have directions on your bylaws,
Mhm.
how you're being coordinated.
Mhm,
They had workshops
mhm.
you always wanted to come to. And right now, the supervisors have empowered, I guess their planning commission or whatever agency they empowered to do a big study on the OACs or on the advisory committees. And yet at the same time, they're telling us that they don't want us. They don't
They
care.
actually, in that meeting, they said they will not be spending any time at all whatsoever working on advisory council changes, modifications, addendums, anything. That was taken completely off the table at the meeting on January 25th.
Okay, I missed part of it.
Yeah, it's
It
okay.
just, You know,
And
it's
to that,
pretty
with
dumb.
the handbooks and the rules and regulations of this, their own very resolution that they created, they also then in turn, in April or May or June, created an advisory council that goes against their very own resolution. Their resolution states that an advisory council must be made up of members who reside in the council area that is being advised for. And VACO has members who do not live in Oceano.
That's
So that right there shows you that county council they have nothing to do with this because we are not a recognized arm of the county. Any advisory council is not a recognized arm at all of the county of San Luis Obispo.
Okay, Councilmember Casanova.
I'm
Go ahead.
reading here that the long form, the IRS long form for is $600.
Right, and I put that right in the sheet that I sent out the other day,
Okay.
which we're not looking to be a long form.
All
So
right.
we're
So
we're
it's
talking
not-
about
it's
things that
not
aren't
free.
pertinent at the
Okay.
moment.
So, but the easy form, less than 275,
Right.
275.
Right,
Okay.
So, okay.
but we're not even
it
talking
makes
about
me
spending
really
money at
sad.
the point.
It makes me really sad that the county, and I don't understand why, and Supervisor Gibson, who goes to the council of his area, didn't stand up to support.
Well, we can't solve that problem now, so
No, I'm
do
just,
we want to take public comment at all
I-
for people who are
excuse
speaking
me.
on the phone?
Miss April,
Yes,
let me talk. Let me talk and don't tell me what to do. No,
I
tell me
didn't
not.
tell you what to do about
You
anything.
did. You're just telling me not to talk.
I didn't tell you
I'm
not to
just
talk. I
expressing
asked
my
if,
feel- I'm just
Okay.
expressing my feelings, say that it's really
understand.
sad and disappointing
we have lots of
that-
feelings about this, I understand.
that
Okay, I think this presentation's gone long enough. It's almost gonna be, what is it?
Which is why I did the way I did.
6:20?
So we have
Yes.
public
Julie
comment.
Julie Tacker has her hand
Yeah,
up.
we've been waiting on public comment this whole
Yeah.
time.
Okay, so we'll just put this on future agenda
we
items
take
and,
Public
table
comment
it.
first, though, before we make a
Yes, yes,
decision.
we will.
Okay.
So we have public comment from one person, and that would be Julie.
Good evening again. I actually raised my hand thinking maybe you forgot to take public comment and maybe I could help wrap this up for you because it was getting long and a little bit redundant. First of all, great job, April.
Thank you.
Super informative. I heard Charles's comments about the I don't know if it's a huge effort or what to maybe dissolve your advisory council, but it seems to me that if you were a 501c3 and you were the Oceano Advisory Council, that even if the county tried to dissolve you, which there's no format for that in the way they form them, there's no way to unform them. But it seems like you guys are pretty darn dedicated to coming together looking at projects, looking at issues, and making recommendations to the county. Oceano Beach Community Association does that. The Surfrider Foundation does that. The list is on and on and on. So whether or not you are advising the supervisor of the district, I think you could still be a council or committee of yourselves and invite others to join you, or, change membership over time. But if you had a 501c3, I think it would really legitimize you and hold you together, for better or worse, and really, give yourself some credibility in that you're willing to stick it out as diverse as you are, and the different views, and that you're still willing to do the work, whether you're recognized by the county or not. So I think it has some validity, and I like April's idea that you don't have to act on this today. Think about it, come back in a couple of months and see if anybody has given it more thought and want to pursue it. So I wish you well. I think it's very interesting. And like I said, I watched the other community advisory councils beg for their money from their supervisors. And it's usually such a little bit of money. It should, as I said at the beginning of the meeting, it should be a line item that they just do, so that they don't have to come in and beg each supervisor every year for what they need. But it'd be great if you guys had this, and then people could donate and then have our tax write-off. I don't see a downside. So there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Casanova?
No, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Okay, so moving on, we have next on our agenda,
So are we
the
making a motion to revisit this at a later date? What's the,
I would like to make a motion that we come back. First meeting in April. First meeting in April, we come
Oh.
back.
the
It'll
first
give us
meeting in
time to-
April tax season, can that?
The second meeting in April, in May, March.
Only because tax season, that's the only
Yeah.
reason.
No, I didn't think about that. I was just thinking about Easter.
No, I get it. No, I would love it to do it then, but the tax season goes till April 18th, which would be our first meeting would be the second meeting, the 21st in April.
Would I get some support to put that on the agenda for April 21st?
I second.
Revisit it? Okay, that's my motion. It's
I
second.
second.
all those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Being none? Okay.
cool.
Thank you.
That
And
way,
please
Lovely.
submit any questions, any other comments, anything, and I'm happy to address them.
I think we're fine for now.
Thank you.
We're gonna-
Between now and April is what I meant.
Oh, okay, I think we're
Not
fine.
tomorrow. I didn't mean that.
I think we had enough of discussion on that.
Aline, you're muted. You're muted.
Slow trees.
Okay, there you go.
Does anyone want to start the discussion? Can you hear me,
Now,
Casanova?
Are we talking about, did I hear about the trees? Right.
Yes.
Yes, I had a great idea walking on Paso Robles. I think the county has lined it all with trees, and most of them are dead. They're gone. So I think it would be a really good project to replace those trees. Right from the beginning, Paso Robles, maybe the county or even Lucia Mar, the entire Lucia Mar playground, the school's playground, I can see the empty holes on the sidewalk, and I counted at least 12 empty holes where there are missing trees. So that's a really good place where we could start planting trees, replace those that died around the playground, Paso Robles and 17th. Thank you.
You go first, Charles.
Okay, thank you, Karen. I think that probably it makes sense to plan for trees and especially the process of selecting what kinds of trees. But until there's curb gutters and sidewalks installed on those streets, any tree planted now in the public right of way is just going to get torn up. So I think it's a great idea. And I don't know if this program provides free trees for private residences of people that want to plant a tree on their property and they've got the appropriate space for it. I mean, that'd be a way to get started, or like replacing, as you said, Lucia, dead trees that are not at risk of being moved with some new project. And so identifying those spots would be important. And I guess the other thing is, I mean, who maintains them? And that's a big issue because the county would basically be responsible for maintenance. And,
In the water, where would the water come from?
well, yeah. Mhm. I mean, but a tree goes down, they're not going to call, they're going to call the county, or, yeah. So I think there's some questions. I think it'd be appropriate to invite them to a meeting to talk with us about it. Or Lucia, you want to follow up with them and get more answers.
Why me? I mean, you're just volunteering me?
I thought it was your topic.
No, I thought you were the ones who received the invitation for those trees, not me. But
I have some questions. Number one, do we have any idea what kind of trees they are? Because that, where they would go in Oceana could be very much dependent on what kind of trees they are, because there is some open holes in different places. There's maybe places down by the county park could maybe get some trees. That would be my first thing. And the other thing is, it's very true, Charles. Also, the Oceana Community Services Water Reliability Project. We're going to be tearing up, 17th and Highway 1 in the next year. I know that for sure, for putting new water lines in, and new water lines are going to go all over Oceana.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's a big project. And so you plant trees and you dig them up, you plant them and dig them up. But that would be my question. What kind of trees are they offering us?
Just a quick side question, Karen.
Yeah,
Who's paying for that project? Is that grant money from state bonds and stuff?
oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. The county.
Well, no, we also raised the water rates
Uh-huh.
a
Okay.
year
So we're
and a
paying
half
for it.
ago.
Okay, yeah.
They're 218, and that the extra money is generating a surplus that's also funding part of that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we made some approved a start of the project last night at the OCSD.
So I guess my suggestion is, Aline, to I'll make a motion that we invite a representative from
I think it was Eco's Law.
EcoSlow to attend our next meeting and be prepared to answer questions. So that would be our meeting of the 17th. Scheduled at this point for 5:30. We'll have to deal with that at the end of the program.
Yeah.
So that was a motion. And when you went,
Second.
Who second? White?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, so we will go ahead and do that. Yeah, we need to find out more about this program.
We need to vote.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was Christopher Hama. I just got the letter. He sent it to Charles and Aline.
okay, we got the motion. All those in favor?
aye,
All right,
Aye.
I don't even know what the motion was, but
The motion to have the representative from what is it? EcoSlow?
Flo,
Slow.
Attend our meeting.
attend the
Oh.
meeting.
Contact him.
I vote aye as well.
Okay. All right,
Who will contact them?
I will contact him.
Okay. Do you still have that letter, Alina? Do you have the info? I'm gonna forward it to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, now, next we have the old business, and we have curbs, gutters, and sidewalks.
So it's progress is happening, and the big thing is that
I'm sorry, I forgot public comment. We forgot public comment.
No hands
Please.
are raised.
No hands are raised. Okay, so go ahead, Charles.
Okay, so this next week, we are going to distribute surveys to every child at Oceano Elementary School to take home to their parents. And the survey assesses the ways that they get to school, the barriers to getting to school, and general thoughts about what they would need to increase the likelihood of children walking to school or biking to school. And so that will be a big piece of information that we need to have for the grant. Andy Stenson of UCMR School District and I are going to manage that process. And hopefully we'll get a pretty good response rate from the parents. And I think they did it by electronically a couple of years ago, and they got 2 responses. So we're going with the paper pencil kind of stuff, and we'll have to add, and input all of that data. I think so that's basically kind of the most recent info on curb gutters and sidewalks. Is there any questions? I'd be happy to answer them. Yeah, Karen.
real quick question. Is it just for Oceano School or for Oceano and Fairgrove?
It's just for Oceano Elementary.
Yeah, Fairgrove has a lot of sidewalks anyway, doesn't it?
I couldn't tell you. I just know that Oceano doesn't. And we're just focusing on that on the elementary school.
Okay,
It serves Oceanans. And
Well-
some people up in AG, I guess.
well, no, some of the students from Oceano do go to the Fairgrove School, but they're from the other side where there are sidewalks, logically.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go, yeah, April.
Real quick, my sister lived at 23rd and the Pike for 23 years. And there are not sidewalks there. And that's literally across the street from Fairgrove, just for a heads up.
No,
Just on one side. on one
Well,
side.
no, my sister's side, they just recently put it in on my sister's side, but yes, the other side definitely does not have them either. And it's hit and miss on her side. Anyway, my question, Charles, do you know the date of the next meeting?
Oh, Slowcog.
No, well, for the curbs, gutter, sidewalks thing, yeah.
The committee our committee is really not meeting right now.
Okay.
The focus is on the specific grant writing, but we may need volunteers, and so then that's the kind of core group we reach out to. might need, we may be doing a community survey,
Okay.
not through the schools, but just walking and dropping a flyer with a link to an online survey on streets without curbs, gutters, and sidewalks in Oceano. That would be the population.
Okay, if there's need for outreach like that, I would love to be on the list. If I can make it, I will, but you know, and for the community to know as well.
Right, it'd be a good project for any community-based organization.
Mm, We're 501c3.
Great if
I couldn't resist.
Great if I could walk better.
Opportunity, get it in there, April. Sorry. Karen, was there something else?
No, I just said it would be great. I'd love to do it if I could walk a little better.
Uh-huh.
Hate to be laying face down on the street.
No, well, where there's no curbs, gutters, and sidewalks.
Well, I'm used to that.
Does anyone else have any other questions, or are we done with this? With this item? We have a sub item of Cal Poly land preference study under it.
So I just wanted, this was more of an FYI that the survey is up and functional now at, this is the land use preference survey that Cal Poly is doing in conjunction with the Oceano Economic Development Council. And asking people's attitudes about, you know, what they like about Oceano, what they don't, what they want to see here, what do they think about redeveloping the airport, and if they, you know, and then if there is redevelopment, what would they like to see there, or a piece of county land on where the trailer storage is. And and this is just kind of an aside question, Karen, you might have the answer to this. There's a big piece of agricultural land directly west of the railroad tracks along the north levee of the Arroyo Grande Creek. I was told that that's county land leased to a farmer. Do you know what that big parcel, it's like?
Where is it to 22nd Street? Be up to,
Right, west of 22nd Street.
22nd and the levee.
Where all the RVs are stored, so behind my house. basically.
farmland
Farmland, huge parcel of farmland.
on the south side. That's
Oh, I know. what you're
On
talking
the
about.
north side of Arroyo Grande Creek,
I
on
know
the
what you're
north,
talking about.
on the north side,
15
At the
acres,
bridge.
20 acres.
on the north side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
right
know
from
where
the
you-
bridge.
I know where.
Right from the
It
bridge.
doesn't sound like any, I don't want to take up time with, I just thought you might have the quick answer, and I'll.
No, but county could give it to you from zone 11A,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's all zone 11A stuff.
And
Or
Uh-huh.
Indians.
I did send out a little questionnaire, not a questionnaire, but just to get people's kind of sense of some of the questions on the Cal Poly survey. And that if you have any thoughts about that, just email me privately.
I just think it's really easy to do, which is, everybody needs to know that it's really easy and it has a lot of places where you can write your opinions in. So it's really super that way.
Mhm.
Here's my commercial. I did it.
Okay, so that's the report. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. And it's everyone in Oceano should take that survey, and it's their website is shapeoceanosfuture.org. Just get on there, shapeoceanosfuture.org, and it'll be on there. And they also have a Facebook.
Is it on our Facebook page? Are we promoting that on our Facebook page?
I wasn't able to put it on there for whatever reason. I don't remember what the issue was, but they it is on their website and they have it on their Facebook. So all you have to do is put Shape Oceanos, just Google Shape Oceanos Future, and it should be on there.
And then share it.
Mhm. And then share it. You
Right.
can take the survey there. Yes. I think
April
everyone
has her
should.
hand up.
Just real quick, I'm looking at the map. It's around, this parcel you're talking about, Charles, is around Creek Road and River Avenue. It's kind of a not like a circular triangular shape. I don't know a better way to put it, but it's that swatch of ag land all on its own.
Right, it's right up against the railroad tracks.
Yeah, yeah. And behind the RVs that are parked in the storage unit, and it's all back in there. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, that was all.
Okay, so are we done discussion with this topic?
Believe so.
Yara, do we have any public comment for this topic? Being none, we'll go on to the next item, which is the town plaza. Lucia set up a Google document for you to be able to go on there and put your suggestions, your ideas. Last I looked, I think, yes, well, I forgot if I looked yesterday, day before yesterday. I didn't see people adding to it. I don't know if you're still thinking about it, but if you don't have access to Google Docs, you could also just email me your ideas and I can cut and paste them onto our Google Doc.
Okay, so I guess I was confused, which isn't surprising about the Google Doc, but you had a Google Doc in there, Arlene, with your ideas, and I put all my ideas on yours. And I accidentally deleted half of one of your ideas, so you need to go in and put it
Oh,
back in
I
there.
did mine. I originally did mine on email because I thought that's what we had agreed to, just email. Maybe you went on there. I don't know, but Lucia then decided to do a Google Doc.
Yeah, it was on a Google Doc. And I shared it out with everybody. So
Excuse me?
I hope it isn't lost.
I'd already sent mine out independently the next morning, so I'd already done mine.
Ditto, I'm doing mine independently.
Oh,
Now, Charles, I see that I see your comments in this Google Doc.
Oh,
It
yeah.
says right there, kiosks should not be electronic, not sustainable, discriminatory access.
okay.
And
So
then, yeah, I see mine, yours.
Oh,
Pepper trees and
there?
jacarandas are not suited to the climate of this location. So yeah, they're all in here. And
Okay.
there are people's too.
Okay, great.
So I don't know why I didn't see that.
You don't see that?
Last I looked, but you can go ahead and because I'm using my phone for the agenda. You can go ahead and tell us some of the ideas, Lucia. What is it? Can you read it for us?
It seems like Spanish style kiosk, hardscape, Spanish style kiosk in the middle or for a band or a speech or a show, not electronic, stone walkways, senior child friendly surfaces, lightly textured concrete. Plants need to be designed so they will not become play equipment for kids. How will water be provided to the site? That's a good question. You know, who manages and pays for these? I mean, it's long. I don't really want to read it all right now. I mean, we were supposed to. I mean, I don't know. I thought this was the easiest way for everybody to write ideas and look. So
I had already done mine
You sent it to
the next morning. Yeah.
So I thought my understanding was that the intent around this was to see what things that we could come up with that we agreed upon as an advisory council.
right.
And send those forward to Caltrans.
Right.
So if there are people who have chosen they don't want to participate in that process, which is fine. Those of us that have participated, who's going to take responsibility for going through and identifying the commonalities?
I mean, Karen, did you say that you emailed it to her already?
Yeah,
From-
that night we had that program the next
Yeah.
morning.
Yes.
Before this
Okay.
discussion ever
But-
occurred.
We
I
had
shipped-
agreed that to send something as the council, so I guess it's just not working.
Well, but you did that after I sent my stuff in.
Right, but we
Well-
decided at the council, not just me,
Well, but I'd already done my part.
But
fine.
we don't know what you said or sent, Karen. Is-
Ugh,
Do you remember?
Yeah, palm trees
Uh-huh.
and I don't really remember now. There was 3 or 4 different things. But when I did it, I didn't know this was gonna happen, so
Oh, okay, I
I
see,
just,
I understand now. Yes,
yeah.
but, I mean, as a council, I don't know how we come together. I don't know, what would, April, what would you like?
I'd like it done.
Well, Going through the list, it's fairly simple manner to identify commonalities,
Mhm.
and there's probably be like 3 or 4 that are there. They may not be exactly the same, but if somebody be willing to do that and share those out,
Excuse me, Charles, but I mean, communalities, this is the only document I have, and there is only you and me who commented.
well, where Elaine has her comments.
In here, Linda, where do you have your comment?
I thought mine were there. I'm on.
Oh, yes, you do. They're here. Spanish style kiosk. That's your comment. Yes,
No, I put the whole list.
yes, yes.
Do you see it or? Let me look.
Why don't you send that around, since you're there, Lucia, send that to everybody.
But you cannot, I don't need to send it. Once I already shared it, and I just accessed it from my documents. It's there. I hadn't looked at it for a week, but now I open it.
What's the title of it again? Downtown Plaza, right?
Yeah, it's
So-
called, I'm gonna share it. Okay, I'm gonna push the share button and I'm gonna send it to you all over again. Lucia, Aline, Charles, and you're all editor. We're all editors. So you can write in directly like you did, like Charles did. And do you have access to Google Docs, Karen? Or you don't want to participate in this? You already sent your own comments.
I already sent my own comments. And the other thing I would say is I think it's getting close to the end of comment period, so it might be done quickly.
Yeah, so I see mine now. Yeah, I thought mine was in there. It is. Mine is like, I start with softscape and then I go to outdoor art. So I did like 2 paragraphs or 3. Palm trees. Or murals of farm workers and the dunes and the Shumash.
Yeah.
Dolphin scope, or is this
Yeah.
somebody else's?
They're all in here. They're all in here.
We need to do this now.
All I did was copy and paste your email, your comments, and put them in a Google Doc. So they're all here.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so we could, the only thing that want to make sure, I don't know how many of you would like when I say Spanish kiosk, I mean like a Spanish gazebo, like a Mexican style, Spanish style. I say Mexican because they have them in Mexico, in all the little towns, like a gazebo thing where, it's in the middle of town, a band could play there, you could do speeches there. I don't know if that's something that you guys would like or not.
I don't think that there's really enough space there to support a gazebo. I mean,
Not
like
enough money.
in the center of a Zocalo where a band can play or a wedding can take place. This is a pretty small space, and the kiosk is simply a bulletin board
Huh.
to put information on. It's not doesn't have a roof. I mean,
And I
not-
thought about
not
that,
a-
it might be too small. I thought about that. So yeah, we could just, I think palm trees is one of the things, and we could look at the 3 common things there and just like send that comment to public comment.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Who would be willing to go through and do that analysis and then share it out back with the council before our next meeting?
Just find 3 things that all of us like, right?
It can be more than 3 if there's more than 3 there. Just identify every one that there's a common support for.
Mhm. I can go ahead and do that and then send it out in an email.
Thank you, Elaine.
I'll try and find my stuff and send it to you, Aileen.
Okay,
It may be somewhere in the disaster that is my
no
email.
issues. I mean, palm trees is one of your thing, and so,
Yeah.
yeah. Right?
Aline, I can do this with you.
Yeah,
We can get together and look at this paper and see if we can do something.
yeah.
I
We
like
just
that.
have to
I
put-
like to get together with some people personally. I mean, and we can just look at these and underline or numbers or delete or, yeah, I'll do it with you. I
Okay,
didn't want to do it by myself. I'll do
all
it
right,
with you.
that's fine. We'll
Okay.
get together, we can do
And
this.
then we would just send it out. We don't need to come back to the meeting, right, for approval.
We'll just send it out as an email.
Just send it out.
Yes.
Oh, to everybody? I mean, I was
Yes, so they
thinking
could
to
all-
send it
they
out.
could all see. Just so they
Hmm?
could see, you know, we need to send this out as soon as possible. It's not gonna be like a letter or anything. It's just, this is what our, you know, our council would like
Right.
things. That's all she wanted.
That's what I mean. So we're gonna
simple,
send it in, we're gonna send it to the public comment people, not back to the council for approval.
We'll send it out to the council so the council could see what the majority of us wants.
Okay,
And, you know, if
Okay.
it's the majority, if less than 3 people, then no.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So are we done with this topic? I think we are. Do we have public comment for this item? I don't see any raised hands. Being none, we'll go on to the next topic here, and it is the updates and action items. So does anyone want to start this discussion? Do you have any updates or action items you want to discuss?
I do,
Go ahead, Karen.
but I might be stepping on your toes. I just wanted to urge everybody to explain that we're going to be dividing Oceana into 5 individual divisions for the election of members of the Board of Directors of the Oceana Community Service District. And everybody's invited to go online to the OCSD and find the mapping, and there's all the instructions on how you divide the map, how you want the five divisions to be made of Oceana, and everybody in Oceana is invited to participate. And it's pretty easy, sort of.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
I like that. It's true. Pretty easy, sort of.
I submitted a map today for the entire community,
Wow, nice.
the Varney map.
Thank you.
Go ahead, April.
Who submitted the patent map?
We don't know because it doesn't show.
Oh,
Oh, who submitted the patent map?
yeah, there's a patent map.
There's a map titled Patent Map.
Mhm.
Oh,
With an O, though.
Huh?
With an O.
Oh, I don't know. I just saw it. I don't know how it's spelled. I just saw that.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm like, okay. Yeah,
Well,
Where is that on OCSD's site?
yes,
Where all the maps are, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was trying to find that.
Oh, it's, the map itself is not. The link to the mapping tool section is where that is.
Oh, okay.
and I kind of just went mapping and it finally showed up. It's a little tricky.
Yeah, well, I'm on the home page and there's nothing that says, no link to the mapping process.
The very tip top of the OCSD website, the main first page.
it's there. It's a pop-up window to alert you that this is.
When you're on the very main page, there's a yellow bar across the very top.
So I'm not sure. It's the main page to custom.
oceanocsd.org.
Okay, well, that's where I'm at. And
And the very top, there's a yellow bar that says current COVID-19 updates. And then it says rental and utility bill assistance. And then it says transition to division-based elections information. That's how you get there.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any more updates? Okay. So next on our agenda, we have the reports. And
What's our policy about going over our meeting? What's the time that that's considered?
our meeting is 7 o'clock, and if we want to go over, we can motion for 15 minutes over.
Make a motion, we go 15 minutes over.
I make a motion that we just try to stay within the time frame for once.
Okay. We will try, we will go as
Written reports
quickly as
help.
possible. So Lucia, you're up.
Well, I didn't.
Treasurer?
Yeah.
Well, I sent the report. It hopefully was uploaded in the agenda.
Never saw it. It's not attached.
I didn't see
No.
that. Sorry, Lucia, I didn't see the report.
I sent it to you, Alina.
Okay,
My-
well, go ahead and read it if you have it.
Let me see, excuse me, let me see. Okay. I'm sorry. And I even made a joke and I said, let me see. Well, I can't find it right now, but
You know, we'll go on to the OBCA. If you want to look for it, I can do my report.
yeah, do your report. I sent it and I don't.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I will do the Oceana Community Service District report. We just had a meeting and the gist of the meeting was what Karen just stated. So
Sorry, Aileen. I wasn't thinking.
no problem. But yeah, so I could just add on that, you know, it is there, like we mentioned, you just go onto the OCSD website, way up on the top, pop up where it says redistricting. You click that and it's going to take you. And you have the option of doing the paper one or doing the online. He did a presentation and it made it a lot easier to understand. And I am going to try to do the one online, not the paper one, but the online one. And it's called District R. That's what they titled it, District R. To do the online one. I found that it was, if you go to the meeting and watch the presentation, it was a workshop to teach us how to go ahead and do these either in paper or online. So he walks you step by step on how to go about doing it. So I thought that was very useful to
So
do it
I'm-
that way.
I'm at that, on that page, the transition to division-based elections. And where in here, where they have the links to go to the mapping tools and stuff, I see no link to the existing maps that have already been submitted.
You
Where
If
is
you
that link?
scroll down, there's a link that says online mapping tool -Oceano CSD. It's the first link.
Yes,
If you click on that and then you scroll down a map page,
got it,
do you see them now?
got
I
it.
see you.
I see it.
So yeah, so if anyone is confused, you could tell, you know, anyone in Oceano who is interested, if they're confused on how to go about it, they think it's too complicated, they could just watch our meeting that we had, and there's a whole workshop. So just tell them, watch the February 9th meeting at the OCSD, and the actual representative is there. doing a workshop, and he guides you step by step by step on how to go about doing the map. I thought it was fairly straightforward. So everyone can go ahead and do that, and you have until the 25th. That's the deadline to post your map. So that will be the 25th. On March 2nd, then you'll have all the maps that were posted on the website so that you can view them. And then kind of decide which one you like, which one you would support. And I believe April 13th, if I'm not mistaken, April 13th, what I wrote down, is when they will make the decision. So the 25th is important if you want to do the map yourself. March 2nd is when everybody's maps, whoever submitted it, you'll be able to see them. And then in April, we will have the final choose a map day. Did you find it, Charles?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
So did I, yeah. Pretty good. I found the report. Are you done, Aline?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I really
Can I
did send it.
Ask a
Yeah, so here-
question on the last report?
Go ahead.
April is
Yeah,
talking.
You could
So I
either
had my hand raised.
ask it, or you could ask about all the reports later, but if you
Is
want to.
that, I mean, we have this report, so I raised my hand. If you don't want me to raise
Okay,
my
go
hand,
ahead.
I'll put it down.
Go ahead.
My question is, I was unclear what Shirley Gibson meant on her way out of the meeting last night. If there was some explanation for that, for one, and for two, the other thing that was mentioned at the OCSD, which I thought was very important, that the community should know about, is that the performance review for the GM is also on the table and was discussed. And I really liked Cynthia Rapogle's idea of a metrics based, where it was actually based on facts and information and not just touchy feely, we like you, you're doing a good job, or I like me, I'm doing a good job, job application thing. So I wanted that to kind of be known to the public as well. It was really good. But I don't know what Shirley meant when she said that, when you guys left the meeting.
Yes, I don't think she realized that the meeting was still being recorded, so I'm not sure exactly, but so I can't speak for Shirley.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so anybody else want to comment on my report? Go ahead, Lucia, with your report then.
Beginning balance, $1,493.26. Expenses none. Income none. Ending balance, $1,493.26. Others. This in response to Charles' inquiries. Mailbox payment due on 11/30/22 for $106. Zoom account due 4/6/22. Last payment was $132. I cannot find records of website server or domain payments. Finish with my report.
Thank you, Lucia. And next we have the OBCA.
April has her hand up.
Okay, go
A
ahead.
question on the amount for the post office box. Is that a semi-annual or annual?
I didn't understand, April.
Is that amount that you quoted for the post office box payment, is that on an annual basis or every
It's
6
an annual
months?
basis. This is annual basis.
Once a year? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then we have the OBCA report.
Nothing to report.
So then we're done with our reports. Do we have public comment on any of the reports?
Oh yeah, excuse me, I forgot that there is gonna be a cleaning, a downtown cleaning on the 19th. Meet by the San Francis Catholic Church at 10 o'clock. Thank you. And we did apply for adopting the highway to clean up that portion with Caltrans, and we received an answer that we are on the waiting list.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you, Lucia.
You're welcome.
So being no public comment, we will then go to discussion items for next agenda, future notices and correspondence.
You know, hello?
Yes, go ahead, Karen.
You know, I wonder if we ought to mention that oh, never mind, that was on. This is my third meeting this week on Zoom. And I'm getting just a little, but there are plans, and I think they're going to come before this group on a big residential, a fourplex apartment complex across from the church.
Which one?
Saint Francis and Church of God of Prophecy, right on 17th Street there, where the homeless have been.
Across from Efren's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Across-
Anyway,
corner.
Where it's fenced off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that empty, yeah,
I've been hearing about it, so yes, we did get some, yeah.
yeah.
I'm
We
gonna-
got 2 projects that you sent out to us, Aline.
Yeah.
That might be one of them.
So we'll have those agendized for discussion next week.
Yes,
Okay,
I'll be calling the applicants and see who will show.
okay.
April?
Quick question, because we're on items for future. I will not be able to make the next meeting, even if you were to change the time, because I already have a prior commitment I can't get out of. So I wanted you guys to know that. So if you're gonna change the meeting time, just not for me this next time, that's all. I will try to do as much of the meeting as I can, but I have to, I have something going on at like 6:15, so. That's all.
So do we all want to agree to change the meeting time to 6 now to help out April, or?
Again, 6 is really hard
This
for
is
me.
gonna help her. It needs to be 6:30.
Yeah.
6:30 would help me because I'm a diabetic and I haven't had dinner tonight.
6:30 is okay with me. I mean,
6:30 is fine with me too.
That's really helpful for me. I appreciate
I'm
it.
here.
Actually, I even like it better because like you said, the cuts into the dinner time in case you start getting.
And traffic, oh my gosh, traffic, trying to get home before in time of the meeting, no way.
so who's gonna change all of the public places that it says we meet at 5:30?
I can't believe I swear I thought we used to meet at 6:30. I feel dumb.
I mean,
The website needs to be changed.
yeah, I don't,
Mhm.
We can email our friend and ask him to change it and to keep track of how much money, how much time he needs and how much money he wants. That's what we didn't we discuss that already? That we're gonna tell him what we need and he's gonna just keep track?
He's too busy.
He's in the middle of a campaign.
Excuse me?
He's too busy.
he's too busy,
Oh, okay, okay.
so.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that before.
mm.
I don't know.
Mm.
Oh, well.
For
Uh,
next meeting, maybe we should just keep it at 5:30 and then till we figure out, maybe find somebody else that will alter our website. That'll.
Junior high school kid.
If any of you know somebody that's competent in Squarespace, you know.
Who knows the password? Who knows how to get in? Of us, who has the passwords and that info?
I do. I
You do, Charles?
Yeah. I do, too, but
does.
I don't know how to do anything. How to go in there, I'm scared.
I was managing the OBCA's website. Truly, it was very easy for me. I guess it was an easy domain or server or whatever, but maybe I can try this one too.
It's Squarespace, the same one you use.
No, we used a different one. I'm sure.
Well,
Teddy. I mean, anyway, Okay, I'll talk to you, Charles. Maybe I'll get the info and I'll try to get in and see what I can do, even just to change the date of the meeting.
Okay.
Just for that. I'm not thinking about uploading or downloading, just trying
Next,
to change the date.
we meet at 5:30 again next week.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Get at that. Be there.
Okay, I move for adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
You kept-
Adios.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thank you,
Sure.
everyone.
Cheer for the LA team.